Hello and welcome to CS Mentor everyone. My name is Ryan and I will be your tutor for this course. In this course we're going to learn all about JavaScript, and in this first lesson I'm going to give you an introduction to JavaScript, which will include some basic programs and things that you can program up yourself if you're following along with me. So what we're going to get started off with is to write our first program. We're going to go to our web browser. So in my case, I'm using Google Chrome, but you can use whatever web browser you want, Internet Explorer, Firefox. And when we go to our internet browser, I want you to go to the website JSBin. So if we type in JSBin and we hit enter, it should be the first link that pops up, but just look for jsbin.com, this first one here, and we're going to click on it. And now that we're inside JSBin, we can see that we have two windows that have popped up. So we have a HTML and we have an output. So we're not actually going to be using HTML in this video, we're going to be using JavaScript. So we're going to get rid of that HTML window and we're going to open up the JavaScript window. And to see our results, we're not going to actually see it in output, but we're going to see it within the console. So we're going to close down out of this output window and we're going to open up the console window. And our first program will be to just print out something to the screen. We want to get our computer to go and say something to us. So traditionally what we do in this case is we get the computer to say hello world. So that's what we're going to do in this video as well. So we're going to type in console.log. So console.log. And you can just think of console.log as something that allows us as users or programmers to see what the computer is actually doing. So after we have said console.log, we're going to type in two brackets. So we're going to type in two quotation marks. Okay, so whatever we put within these two quotation marks will be what's displayed out to the screen. So for example, if I put hello world, hello world will be displayed out onto the screen. And to run this program, we can just hit the run button over here on the right hand side, and then within our console here we will see the result. So if we try that now, we can see that hello world has been printed out. Okay, so if we want to change this program slightly to make it a little bit more personal, we could take out the world and we could add in something else. So for example, my name's Ryan, so I'm going to put in Ryan. If your name is something else, you can put in your name here and we'll hopefully get the computer to greet you. So if we run this again, we can see that it now says hello Ryan. And if we want, we can clear all the previous results. So by just hitting this clear button, so we can clear it. And then if we run this again, we will see hello Ryan again. Brilliant. So we just clear that again. Now, apart from writing just text, such as, letters and words within this, we can also write numbers. Okay, so we could have something like we could have Ryan is, we'll say 25, and we can click run and we can see that it prints out Ryan is 25. Okay, so that's kind of cool, but we're still having to manually put in whatever we want to print out. So there's this idea of variables that we'll touch on in another video, but the idea is that we can store some information in a variable. Okay, you can just think of a variable like a like a bucket or something that we can store information in, and then when we want to go and retrieve that information, if we want to go and print that information, let's say, we can just go and call that variable or that bucket that we want to print the contents of. So if we want to make a variable, we can make it like this. Don't worry about what I'm doing too much. This is only a JavaScript introduction video, just to give you an idea of some of the things that we can do. So I'm going to type in let, and then I'm going to type in the name of my variable or bucket, and I'm going to name it name, okay, and I'm going to equal it to something else. So we'll say Chris. So now what I can do is, inside my console log, instead of writing any text, and you'll also notice that I've got rid of the 2 quotation marks, or the double quotation marks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type in here the name. So the name in this case is the name of my variable. So if we go and run this, we can expect to see the name Chris. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this and I'm going to run it, and we can see that it prints out Chris. And just to be quite clear on how it prints out this word Chris, it's getting it from this name, but this name could be anything, right? So you could name this me, let's say, and then you would have to change what you want to print out. For example, you would now not be printing out name, because name does not exist. You'd have to print out me. Okay, so if we print out me, I'm just going to clear this again, and I'm going to run it, and we can see the exact same thing gets printed out. So that's one way that we can print out things, like changing it in one place. Like, I can change this to Ryan, and if I go and run this program again, it's going to print out Ryan. Yeah, so it saves me from constantly changing my text within the console log. I can just create a variable and just change that variable. And another thing we'll touch on for the end of this video is some things we can do with numbers. Okay, so we can set a number to a variable as well, but just for now I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, so we're going to type in a number here, for example, right? Let's say 6. And if we go and clear this and we want to see the number 6 being printed out on the screen, we can see the number 6, right? So that's okay. But if we wanted to do something else with the 6, so let's say we wanted to, add, another number, let's say. So we can do the plus, and we can do 7. So you commonly see this in maths, but it's just nice to know that the computer can also do this for you as well. So if we go and clear this and then run it, we can see that 13 is displayed to the console, which is what 6 and 7 are. But what we can also do is, similar to the way that we were changing our name variables, we can set a variable. Let's say let's say number 1, and we can give it a value of 6. So this outcome is going to be the exact same as what we got previous, but it's a different way of doing it, and it's a better way of doing it. So, and you mightn't see the benefit of it now, but you will in future videos. And then we're going to have number 2. So we just have 2 variables. One's called number 1, one's called number 2, and we've set number 1's value to 6, and we've set number 2's value to 7. And what we're going to need to do in here is we're going to need to add these 2 values together. So number 1 plus number 2, and then if we clear this and we run it again, we can see that the number 13 is being displayed. So it's the exact same result, and it's the exact same way of doing it as the previous way. You might be wondering, is this not a little bit more effort? And for a simple program like this, yeah, you could see it as being a little bit more effort to declare the variables and then print them out within the console log. But where this becomes useful is if you had loads of different variables here. If you had loads of different variables, and let's say only one of them has changed or something, then all you have to do is change this variable. So I can change this from a 7 to a 10. Okay, and everything else is going to be perfect. Everything's going to work. Once I've just changed that variable. If I change that console log, it might need to be changed in several other places. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear it and we're going to run again, and we can see that now our new total is 16. And we can even make this cleaner, and we will in the future. But for now, this was just to give you a quick idea of what JavaScript is and how it can be used.